Welcome, Carm Capriato, the Service Aftermarket's podcast pioneer with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and remarkableresults.biz or on my YouTube channel. Hey everybody, Carm Capriato, Remarkable Results Radio, 1,000+ episodes. So glad you are with us. Appreciate your loyalty to the show. For the 1,000th episode, I created this great white paper called the Top 12 Strategies that I've learned over the 1,000 episodes from automotive aftermarket businessmen, CEOs. You can get it through remarkableresults.biz/CEO or on my downloads page. Check it out. You just may love what you see. I've got a great panel today. Husband and wife. I don't know if you knew that, but I did.
Now
Uwe
you're just giving
Kleinschmidt.
the other side of the
Now
story.
you're giving everything away.
Yeah, you never told me not to say that, so maybe I'm okay. Uwe Kleinschmidt, Krista Eriksson from AutoTechIQ.com. Hi, guys.
Hi, thanks for
Hi.
having us.
So I saw you had asked Uwe, and you blazed my ears. They were dripping when you left. And I says, I don't have any time in my schedule at ASTA, but can we get together virtually? And you said yes. And I says, I got to hear it all over again. He goes, hey, this is my story. I love to tell it. I am fascinated. We did an episode on AutoTechIQ a little while ago, and you were on that one too, Krista. But I see these changing evolutions of the generations and how they want to be sold and how they want to buy things, because you know, my daughter's a millennial and she has a completely different way and a completely different think on how she buys things. I don't think she likes to be sold anything. I mean, she just paid for her car and she goes, I don't want to go through that again, Dad. I'm done. So let's talk about this, because I think you have a genius way to think this through.
I don't know whether it's genius. It's, believe it or not, just numbers. Yes, there was an hypothesis behind this. It didn't just appear. But the story goes like this. Back in my previous company, we tried to measure everything. It was a really interesting exercise because in the beginning, we listened to our customers, of course, and took it as a holy grail when we got a message back from shop owners. And then when we started measuring things like, do your customers open your inspection result? How long are they looking at the inspection result? We found patterns which I didn't think it's so clear. And the clarity was, the longer somebody looked at an inspection result, the higher the approval rate. And so we built it into the DVI tool that the service advisor could see whether the customer is still looking at the inspection result, and the order was, don't interrupt. Don't call. Wait until they're done researching.
Oh, don't jump the gun.
Don't jump the gun. And the number which finally basically made me do AutoTechIQ was Frank's shop. Frank became an involuntary case study because he had two service advisors under the perfect conditions. They all used the same tool. They used the same technicians. But one scored every week $3,000 on average more than the other. The difference was the guy with the higher ARO had a customer research time. Remember the time customers look at the inspection result? 10 minutes.
Well,
Whereas
that's
the other
really.
service advisor had 3 minutes.
Oh, what was he jumping the gun, or is that what he was doing? Was he jumping the gun?
What he was doing, the other service advisor, was basically taking over the process from the paper inspection, right? I don't, if you remember the paper inspections, it's all about service advisor hand waving on the phone, explaining what's wrong with the car, right? And he didn't let go of that practice. Yes, he mentioned the inspection, but he didn't make it the focus of the conversation. And whereas the other guy took quite a bit of effort before sending the inspection result and marked the pictures up so they were self-explanatory. So you as a layman looked at them, you know what they were showing and you know why they were sent to you. Whereas the other guy used the phone call to explain every single detail.
Mm-hmm.
In the same phone call, within a few moments, pressure the customer to approve.
In this study at Frank Skander's place, this study was just a genuine search for what's wrong.
Yes, because I looked at the numbers and I said, Frank, I can't explain it. Why are your two service advisors so different? My only explanation is the phone call. Please listen to the recording. And voila, it came all out.
It was the methodology.
It was, as we call, it's the process, not the tool.
Yeah, the process.
And so that made me, together with a few other things, think about, I talked to my son who is an SEO guru. And so I asked, so he worked for companies like Zappos, Target, Nike, but also did auto repair shop websites, smartest guy I know. And I asked him how many searches are there on Google for car topics. And he got back to me after a few days and said 89 million. That was 2022. The good news is it doubles every 4 years. So we're going to have 180 million in 2026. And so I thought, wow, why don't we help those motorists looking to an answer to their question and then hook them up with shops who have proven by using the DVI that transparency is their whole focus in educating their customers. And I ran it by a few shop owners who I really value the feedback from. And I expected things like, no, stay away, buddy. We educate our customers, not you. And nobody said it. Every single guy said in one way or the other, we like customers who are pre-educated because they approve more. And to the degree that 60% of my seed capital for AutoTechIQ came from shop owners, right? There was so much trust and responsibility, obviously, that we started. Now we are 2 years into the running. We added a few things because in order for a shop to be featured on autotechiq.com, you have to meet a few requirements. 4.5 plus Google ranking, 100 Google reviews, and you go through a brief certification process where we look at their DVI process, as we call it, and then give them immediately low-hanging fruit feedback on where can they do a little tweak with a great result. I give you one example. It is really mind-boggling. I gave a presentation at a 20 group, and TechMetric has this great KPI called viewed by customer rate. And so I asked around in the room, what's your viewed by customer rate? And the numbers were between 15% and 60%. That means between only 15 and 60% of the customers actually who received the inspection result opened the inspection result. And it should be what, 95?
You
Right.
would think.
And when I asked around, how do you make sure that people know what to do with a text message? One shop owner said, oh, I sent them a second one if they don't open the first one. And so my reply was, what do you do with text messages from a phone number which is not in your address book, which asks you to click on a link? And the answer was obvious.
I guess if I'm not even told it's coming, I'm going to look at it as spam.
Correct. And if you now look at the drop-off experience, there is, even if the service advisor is telling the customer there will be a text message, that's just one little portion of, I don't know, 5 other things they're being told at drop off under time pressure, right? So the question is really, how much do you remember an hour later that this is important?
Yeah,
And
that
so
you were told, bam, 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 and you go, okay, great. Yeah, sure. Okay, bye.
right. And so now the burden is on the service advisor to fall back into the old paper-based process, right? Hand waving on the phone. Or can you open the inspection result? It must be on your text, right? I mean, and so what we propose, and in our Facebook group, there are now multiple examples. Build the biggest poster you you can fit on your wall in your greeting area and describe the process with pictures. You remember pictures?
Oh my God, no pictures. What are they?
Right. So you take
I
a picture of how the text message looks. You take a picture of how the first page after you click the link looks, and people will remember that. And the viewed by customer rate goes through the roof. Simple things.
stop it. I refuse to believe that something this basic, because I'm a person who would think like that. Let me give a picture. Let me give a flyer. Let me listen. Here's what's going to happen in the next hour and a half. Let me just quickly walk you through it. And if you don't have time right now, please open this up when you get a chance to calm down, get your first cup of coffee, take the kids to school, get to work.
Right.
Because I know how life routine is. But a poster on the wall with the pictures and a guide, that you have to go to an art gallery for that.
Oh, you have a designer. You don't need an art gallery.
I'm only
And,
kidding. I mean, you go to art galleries to see
the
you
point
go
is,
to, but you see people. We're forgetting that we're visual people.
exactly. And there's value in it, right? There's a difference between saying you're going to get something from us. I'm not going to show you how it's going to look. Or saying,
Secret.
look, this is exactly what you're going to get. And by the way, red, yellow, green means this. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
there's value.
Right.
All of a sudden, they're expecting it. All of a sudden, they're looking forward to it.
I can't wait.
Simple things.
Okay. So this was the big discovery.
That was one. Actually, the biggest discovery is that we as consumers have been, let's call it empowered, you could call it conditioned, depending on what side of the aisle you're sitting, by online purchasing places like Amazon to do our own research and make decisions on our timeline in our control. The last 10 years, we have perfected this. But it was even the case before, right? When you go to a mall and the first experience in the store is that the salesperson approaches you and asks you, 9% of the people say, I'm just browsing. And then when they found a product, shoes, whatever it is,
Yeah, they wanted help.
they want help. And they approach the same salesperson with questions. And guess when somebody in sales or as service advisor can shine the most? Answering questions, be a consultant. It's way more effective in any situation than trying to download tons of information after having interrupted the person at work or at home and have a ratio of 90% service advisor talking versus 10% customer talking and pressure the approval.
Imagine letting that customer going to the poster and then saying
Yes.
to the customer, I want to explain to you why I'm walking you through this, because auto service is not as easy or as hard as Amazon. Let that thing sink in for a minute. It's not as easy or as hard as Amazon. And your customer is going to look at you like, let me explain.
No, it's just we are now conditioned to look for information anywhere we can and extract what we think we need.
What we think we need, right?
And that changes the sales everywhere, especially when, there's a reason why it's called service advisor, right? You advise. And the best way to advise is answer questions.
Yeah.
So,
The other,
so an inspection result, which is self-explanatory, is triggering questions. And back
Yeah.
to what you said in the beginning, we want to buy, not be sold. A well-crafted inspection result triggers the desire to buy.
Yeah. We do everything in our shop to build trust, Mr. Customer. And that's why they just recently changed my title to Client Advocate. I'm here for you. So let's look at this poster. Let me tell you what's going to start happening. It's kind of like the doctor. Now look at, you're going to get into the hospital, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. We're going to take out this organ and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's transparency down to a level of detail which makes us confident and be at ease.
Yeah.
And take advantage of that 5 minutes that you have with them in your waiting room in person. And I think that really resonates with people if you can explain it to their face.
As hands off as our world and our life is, I think you just nailed it, Krista. I think people do still want to hear, to be told. Your job is to give confidence, flow confidence out to your client.
Without pressure. you know?
Yeah. Without pressure. I loved your story about I'm just browsing, and then you found something that you needed help with. You know, my problem always has been I can't find the person again.
Yeah.
And I'm always complaining.
You
These
run away. You
short-staffed
run away. Yeah.
places. They're so short-staffed. It's terrible. And then I can't find anybody. And then I ended up not buying. So think about the not buying piece. If you don't have an advocate, someone to stand up and walk you through the complexity of automotive repair today.
And
You
it all
found what? What the heck does that do on the car?
Yeah, and it all links back to that trust that, auto repair shops want, and they want that return customer, and you want that lifelong customer, and it starts right there. Starts right there. The first visit starts right there with every visit.
It's brilliant work. What's next? What are you doing next? The motorist interaction with this and gaining
So,
sight
so,
on the repair order data.
so what we have done is we started digging. So part of the certification is also that you allow us to look into your repair history. And so what we have used machine learning and AI for is to standardize jobs, right? So some shop owners call it LOF, another one calls it minor maintenance, the next one calls it oil change.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variability in the data, at least in the names. And so we went and for one reason only initially and standardized those jobs because we wanted to find out what is the highest number of declined jobs, because that's for us a metric, again numbers, a metric judging your DVI process. And so we built a tool, it's called Job View IQ, everything has an IQ with us, where we plot per service advisor per declined job the decline rate, number of recommendations, how often you recommend. And we found some really surprising data. The most declined jobs are filters, engineer and cabin air filter. By far, there's a big gap to the next one, which is alignment. Next one is any type of fluid exchange. And then the big hammer is shocks and struts. It's only number 4, but from a gross margin perspective,
It's
it's
huge.
number 1.
Yeah.
And so that was surprising. And so we started building then. Frank and Brittany, 2 shop owners, are part of AutoTechIQ.
Mhm.
And we built a training around a good DVI process, which includes how do I educate the customer to approve filters, for example. That was our next step. So Job UIQ is a tool. You get a check-in per month with your trainer. You look at the numbers. They're actionable numbers, right? It was really funny in a presentation I gave at ASTA. I looked up what's the definition of transparency, and it basically is, don't hide information in a nutshell. And I would love to add one little things, which is make it actionable so it has value, ideally immediate value, right? There's so many lists of data in point of sales and elsewhere. And if it's not actionable, you don't use them, right? We built in Job UIQ the ability for the manager, owner, whoever, we call them the DVI process owner, to immediately take action and improve individual metrics like declined jobs for engine air filters. And so one little thing, again, little tidbit, when you present a dirty air filter to your customer, there is the phenomenon of dirty is in the eye of the beholder. If it's not really, you have leaves and it's black, then you compare it with your AC filter at home. Oh yeah, that can last another 6 months.
The NAPA Now event is a national ownership workshop for our valued AutoCare members centered around business building training from industry leaders. Now, it's not just about owning a shop, it's about owning your future. Join NAPA April 15th through the 17th, 2025 at the Venetian Resort in the heart of Las Vegas, known for its vibrancy, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit. At the event, ignite growth through business building masterclasses from leaders across multiple industries focused on expanding business opportunities. Now, masterclass topics include future-proofing your business, mastering emerging technologies for growth, leadership dynamics, inspiring, engaging, and driving success, shifting tides, understanding evolving consumer behaviors and your bottom line, and young leaders' lasting legacies, mastering succession planning for future growth. Foster collaboration with other like-minded NAPA AutoCare members and store owners. Stop at supplier studios for training, visit AutoCare vendor partners, and finally, join us in celebrating 100 years of NAPA Auto Parts, along with kicking off the next 100 years of partnership. There will also be exclusive giveaways. There are many incentive opportunities to offset the cost of this trip, including AutoCare program earnbacks, and beginning in October, earn up to $1,500 with pre-show supplier training to prepare for the supplier studio training sessions. The NAPA Now event is a national ownership workshop for our valued AutoCare members centered around business building training from industry leaders. Now, it's not just about owning a shop, it's about owning your future. Join NAPA April 15th through the 17th, 2025 at the Venetian Resort in the heart of Las Vegas, known for its vibrancy, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit. Get ready to grow, connect, and celebrate. This is an exclusive event limited to the first 2,000 AutoCare members. Packages are going fast. If you're interested in attending, contact your servicing NAPA store or NAPA salesperson. One of the things about air filters, Uwe, and I don't mean to stop you, is the stuff you see on YouTube about, these scams that happen. And
Right.
to me, the best way in a DVI type setting is to have that video going while you're taking that off so that no one is thinking that they're going to throw junk, dirt, stuff
Oh,
on
I
your
see.
air
Mhm.
filter to make it look like it's bad. It's a real deal here. Do you think the air filter issue, the two filter issues are a trust thing?
I
Or
think
that
it
we're just
is.
not offering it as part of what we need to sell them?
I don't have the ultimate answer yet, because if you talk to shop owners and service advisors, their immediate reaction is, yeah, my customers tell me they can do it themselves.
Yeah.
For me, that means there is a lack of sense of urgency, right? If there was sense of urgency in that moment, they would approve, because they don't want to wait until they remember it over the weekend. And so what we recommend, just have a clean filter in Ziploc bags ready for the tax, and take the dirty one, hold it against the clean one, take a picture of both together. Now we know what dirty is. And that also creates a little sense of urgency because you want to take care of it.
There's
Things
got to
like
be
that.
some magic here. Some magic, the marketing magic even. And I love the picture of the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But listen, just over the fact that if a cabin and an air were both bad, Uwe, Krista, and we could tell that, listen, if you buy both of them, there's a special, a program, a deal, an award, or there's something to get that customer off top dead center, because they're thinking that they're going to go home and do this themselves, going to get into the glove. It's not easy today anymore. And if we're all time sensitive and time bashed, when are we going to find time to even do this? Maybe another great stat is they said no to the air filter the last time they were in, and it still isn't changed. Man,
No, Frank recommended you practice. If they decline, call them 2 weeks later and ask how the air filter is going.
yeah. Did you replace that air filter you said you were going to do? No.
Correct.
Please come in the morning. That's perfect. Please come in the morning. We wouldn't recommend it if we didn't think that breathing great air for your engine's important.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing we also noticed is there are tons of videos out there, partially to educate why to do something and what happens if you don't do it, and partially to, especially for moving parts, to show the problem, right? We noticed overall that no matter how good the videos are, the click rate on videos is so much worse than the click rate on pictures. And the explanation is, and that's just subjective, a picture you see immediately what's going on, processing it takes milliseconds. You read the marked up text on it, and within a very short period of time, you know exactly what's going on. Videos, you have to have time for it, and there has to be a promised value that you take that time. If not directed to click on the videos, lots of people don't click on it.
It's a bigger investment.
It's a bigger investment.
So let's talk about shocks and struts.
Very
I'd
good.
I would love to, because I remember 50,000 miles, got to look at your ride control, right? And hey, I'm guilty. I've got 80,000 miles on my old car. It's still young. It's only half its age. It's like 12 years old. And I bet you, because I came from that side of the cloth, my car would ride so much better if I got off my wallet and put on ride control. Feel like a brand new vehicle. But it goes bad over time so slowly you don't even know it and sense it. I don't have a leak, so I don't need them.
And some shops say that's okay. We don't recommend it until we see the leak or the damage. And then you have people like Brittany Schindler, for your listeners who don't know her, rock star, shop owner of 2 shops.
We've done episodes, Brittany Schindler, Frank Scandura. Just go to our website, type in their names, listen to their stuff. Good people, good people.
And she has created what now everybody calls the Brittany Process.
Yeah.
And one of the shop owners said there is BB and AB, before Brittany and after Brittany. And this shop owner said, after she presented her process, we do a webinar every Wednesday, half an hour, really quick, the fastest 30 minutes of the week. And she presented her DVI process. And then this shop owner said in Facebook as a reaction, he said, halfway through the presentation, I started pacing my office, clenching my fists, telling myself, expletive, I have been doing inspections wrong for the last 5 years. And that was a big epiphany for a lot of shops. And so that's what we basically teach, the Brittany process, which is, in a nutshell, yes, it's great if you show examples of how bad certain portions of your car are, but you're not in front of a judge where you have to prove something. It's much more important to talk about the why. Why should you replace it? And
oh God, let's keep that tire on the road. What do you think, huh? Maybe that's
right,
important.
and explain that in layman language and keep the tech lingo out. That's the biggest challenge for a lot of people, me
It's the
included.
why. Wow. I would be like that guy. I would be slapping myself both in the head and on the behind that I missed it.
We did a little video testing something with Krista and Frank, where Krista is the customer. I mean, she represents the customer in our company because I'm way too technical. And
Is that true, Krista? Is he way too technical? Got it. So what kind of TV shows does he like to watch?
He's not a huge TV person.
Okay.
He's full-time AutoTechIQ. So
Full time, 724.
yeah. Yeah.
I think Uwe, you're an awful lot like me. Ideation is in my top 3 strengths, and I can't shut it off. I just can't. What I do for a
I can't.
living in trying to find the topics and the people to advance the industry. And did we ever cover this? Should we cover it again? I mean, all in. Ooh. So does he come up for air ever?
Yes, for dinner.
Well, so what does he do? What is this is funny. We're making this about Ufa. What does he
Yeah.
do to
I
recharge?
like this case study. I think, honestly, he's not a person that would do well being retired. Like, he has a passion for this industry ever since he's been in it and has always wanted to, make an impact and continue to make an impact. And nothing could make a spouse happier than seeing their partner doing something that they love. And, him coming back with this idea of AutoTechIQ and seeing faces again and then hearing stories from people how he changed their lives. It's like, I think that gives him life. I think that breathes life into him, knowing that he's helped so many shop owners and that people believe in him. Being, in a startup is never an easy situation. There's definitely a lot of highs and lows, just like any business, but a startup, I think, is obviously particularly hard. And having those little stories now and then from voices of the past really invigorate him.
I love the case study piece, and I'm sure, Uwe, you get all juiced up when you hear principles or the premise or I'm trying to think of the right word to explain what your passion is. Your thesis, for example, it just continues to go bam, and it just keeps locking you down and locking you down, and you just keep pushing and pushing. And this stuff that we're hearing about, this isn't rocket science. This is just intuition. To me, I always see stuff. It's right there on the end of my nose. I just can't see it.
No, I don't know what work-life balance means. If you if you can help people, why do you call that work? I don't understand.
I know. I'm struggling with that right now. Not that that I'm looking for change, but I'm trying to think of, what does slowing down mean? I don't know, because
Yeah.
I have 4 projects and I keep talking to Tracy about
Right.
them, and she goes, "I love them, Dad, but when?" And then there's this who thing. When and who,
Yeah,
and then how.
And
I know.
I
We
don't
need to
I
clone
don't want to
ourselves.
get too political, but if you like Victor Davis Hanson, he was on a podcast with Mike Rowe, and he wrote a book, I think, The End of Everything. I mean, it couldn't be darker. So Mike said at the end to him, Victor, we cannot, end this podcast without a high note. What makes you get up every morning? And he said, the people who work with their hands, I have the highest respect for, and they are the future of this country. And then he gave some examples why he thought like that. This guy has written, I don't know, 25 books, is a farmer on the side, and spoke so highly of the craft, right? And I think I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. That reminds me of why I wrote my declaration, The Rise of the Mechanical and Technology Specialist. And it's just because when I look at the language, and so much of what I'm hearing from you is how we interpret things we do or say, that I decided to say, hey, look, stop calling ourselves techs, although it was the greatest word we could ever pick up 10 years ago. But the people that work so beautifully with their hands are mechanical specialists, and the people that do the brainiac work, and they just give me a tablet, give me something to troubleshoot. They're technology specialists. Why? Because we have a vehicle today that is just a marvel of technology. It continues to go beyond anything we've ever even dreamed that it could do. And by just changing our name and getting the outside people looking in, we have always said, my Mercedes specialist is going to handle your check engine light. Don't worry about that. We had an alignment specialist, but we still call them mechanics and techs. And there's no pure, really great definition of that, internal or external. So I wrote my 12-page declaration. It's available at remarkableresults.biz/rise. RISE, the Rise of the Mechanical and Technology Specialist, and you're kind of speaking my language here. People that we have so many incredible and talented people in our industry. Why don't we lift the language that we say to each other? And so I'm so big on that when I'm hearing you talk about the things that we need to say. Go back to client advocate. Listen,
Right.
let's go to the poster on the wall. Let me show you what's going to happen in the next maybe half hour, 45 minutes. This is what you're going to see. This is why.
Done.
So important.
And it's not much work. Really, it isn't. But it makes a big difference. And the same when the service advisor marks up the pictures and sends a self-explanatory digital inspection result to the customer. They can read, they can understand, and they can ask questions about. And often that question is, how much?
Okay, a big takeaway from Uwe and Krista is this poster on the wall. I have no idea how to do that. Can we just spend 2 minutes to explain, maybe even hire someone, go to Fiverr or some of these other, here's the screenshots, make it look pretty because this is what happens? Or have you guys designed a little mini template to show people what it could look like?
We did, and in our Facebook group for certified auto shops, there are plenty of examples. Which went to, we have now one printer who one of the shop is working with. He obviously is now printing this for everybody. I don't know, I lost track.
But everybody's SMS and DVI is a little different, so you got to be able to get the right
and this is a printing exercise. Don't copy anybody's. Try to be you and what's important. But don't forget the combination of the two things. One is be as clear as possible what it looks on the phone. Be as clear as possible what it looks when they click the link, and then be as clear as possible to explain in the shortest way possible what red, yellow, green means.
What else?
We are still growing our network. We would love to get more certified shops, shops that meet the criteria that Uwe mentioned earlier. You have to have a Google review of 4.5 or higher, have a website, use a DVI, any DVI, we don't care. We will certify your process and then get you listed on AutoTechIQ and drive you the type of customers that you're looking for.
You got to be able to share your data.
Yes, without customer information.
We have a data sharing agreement if you insist, where we show you what we all extract. Since we are not a CRM, we will never contact customers.
We're just trying to standardize jobs and find out and help each shop with that information, their decline job rates, and we've got a couple other things in the works.
It's all in the data, right? It's all there.
So maybe a little teaser. We built something called AutoTechIQ DNA, and just like when you have a dog or cat and you get the DNA results, then it tells you what those breeds are especially prone to in terms of diseases or otherwise. We have started building the same for cars. Since we have so many repair orders now in our database, instead of looking back like Carfax, we're letting you look into the future based on your mileage. What are the repairs you can expect? And we give you the DNA result for your vehicle. And if you let us hook the data up with sync, as we call it, sync with your repair shop's database, then we can tell you what has already been taken care of, don't need to worry about, but which ones you should better go back to the shop and let them do an inspection to find out what the situation is. Right?
I totally love the whole DNA concept, and I'm thinking here broadly. Here comes the recommended maintenance. Again, it's 80,000 mile vehicle, but then if you connect the DNA to it, you look across the lines at 80,000 miles, what's a common thing? And maintenance is part of it, but the maintenance needs to be done because we see in the DNA of your vehicle at this year, at this miles, this can happen. So if you've going to develop a great maintenance structure in your business for your clients, you can prove to them with this information, with this data stream, how likely that thing, the issue could happen. And let's do preventative maintenance on it. No one wants to be stuck at the side of the road because, well, and if you got your crystal ball and it makes sense and you continue to
Yep.
prove that it's right,
Another why, right? It's another why you should
another
do it.
one. Yeah, and I think it goes back to the younger people that want, again, let's go back to that whole Amazon thing that I say, auto service is not as easy or as hard as Amazon, but they still want that almost click, 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 click thing. It seems like what you're doing with AutoTechIQ is to put a little of that in the face of the client as they're on the shop's website. You're going in and out with issues and information and the DNA stuff and the predictability of things. And can the client be carefully walked through all of this and click on things to say, yes, let's do this when, and
Yeah, urgency, safety, all of
yeah.
those things. Mhm.
Yeah, if I'd hate to think that we're in this touchless environment, but I think that's what our younger generations are looking for.
From that perspective, I'm one of them. Maybe not by age, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you're curious about stuff and you want to make decisions, you collect data and
You do your own research. Yeah.
you do your own research.
It's like this. I'm convinced I'm going to buy it and I can have it tomorrow. And so as long as we can keep up with the demand of the client who has, oh my God, I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I'm off for a day. So maybe I can get this thing. And I've been convinced that this 80,000 mile checkup is really critical. I need to have this stuff done. And I love my shop and I love my people and they've always been so good and I trust them.
Right.
So you can't get away. You can't put all the data together and not have a good, honest, and ethical business. That they go hand in hand.
Yeah, no, I often hear, oh, so you want to replace a service advisor? No.
Whoa,
I want to
probably.
equip the service advisor with the best way to do the advising part, because there will be no replacement. I also don't think AI will be anytime soon replace the human to human interaction for a purchase decision of $400 and upwards. I'm not sure what the number is, but you wanna talk to somebody and have a dialogue and not talk to whatever AI is.
Service
Okay.
advising, it's a tough job. It
It is.
really is. And if we were going to be good at the client relationship and learn to be as transparent, loving, caring with that client, we want to give them the greatest experience in the world, then concentrate on your skills of communications and so much of the other stuff that we look up parts and do this and scheduling and dispatching and all that. Leave that to someone else. And so if software can come up and support that job, then we don't need to have 3 or 4 people on our counter. Maybe we can get away with one less as we grow our business. And to me, there could be an economy of scale as software steps up to support decision making.
Couldn't agree more. I remember John Long, shop owner in Texas.
Yeah, of course I know John. Yeah.
It's years ago. We did introduced a new role in the shop, production manager, and he told his two service advisors, I want to do the following. You do what you're best at in customer care, and somebody else will do the dispatching of the technicians and the estimating. And they looked at him and said, is that the first step? Firing us, John?
And they're probably still there. Shirts.
No, but
Shirts. with the
True
business.
Total Automotive or
Yeah,
something.
True Total. Yeah, very good.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yeah. Good
And
people. I love them guys out there.
and John's response was, I hear you. If it's not working out, we're gonna go back after 3 months, but give us that time to test it. And they came back to him after a week and said, best thing they've ever done.
Yeah, because we want to grow our business, but not have to, we want to add this position, but come on, guys, work with me on this. I just love that. I had a blast. Wow, we're 50 minutes in. I can't believe where the time went because it was so interesting. Thank you for this. As always, when I get together with Uwe, I'll have to go take a nap
I'm
after I
sorry.
hang up here. I never take a nap. But as Krista said, yeah, he's like the Energizer Bunny. He's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Going.
Yep.
Oh, good to have you here, Krista
Thank you.
Eriksson, AutoTechIQ.com, Uwe Kleinschmidt. Uwe's legacy, I don't know if we probably have a new generation of listeners. It was Auto Vitals that you created years and years ago. And thank you for helping start that incredible evolution that we have in our industry. And as you continue to do more of it, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. It was a blast.
Thanks, man.
Krista has to talk more. That's my flaw. I shouldn't have.
That's okay. She
Talk
did
too
good.
much.